Forgive me for my video footage. Hopefully the audio will go through perfectly. I just have a couple thoughts on this transgender debate from going through YouTubes and stuff. And, well, I drive to work every morning and I let a YouTube video play with my notification screen down. So I'm not breaking a law watching a video, but the video can play and I can hear it. And that's how I do things. And I quite often hear a lot of stuff about the transgender argument through some YouTube videos. And I wanted to give a point, some credence. Women that identify as real women are mad because trans women are saying that they're having periods, are saying that their periods are so bad, they're recording themselves, basically over dramatizing a outward appearance of what happens to a woman on their period, how they act, how they allow people to perceive their physiological pain, emotional pain, mental pain. It it comes down to these people have never had their periods before. They're not getting their periods, but like they're laying on the bed, they're screaming, they're crying, they're rolling back and forth, they're pressing at the buttons on a pair of shorts that are too small, trying to say that they've bloated, when in reality what's probably happened is you've never worn those shorts before, they don't fit, they haven't fit, you started gaining weight because you're eating, because you're sad or emotionally distressed, and whatever the problem is, now you have good footage for you to pretend that you're going through period stuff, and you want to flaunt that you're a woman now. But here's the thing, okay? The people who are deciding that they're going to impose their opinions, their words, their labels, are saying, I'm not a trans woman, I'm a woman. And we better listen to them, because labels are important to them. But then the women who have real breasts, that work like real breasts, that will produce milk at times, or don't because of a physiological failure or something wrong with their breasts. Real women with actual breeding organs that would create a child in their womb, or won't because of an actual physiological failure or disability or damage or health reason, a actual concern. These women with these actual features, whether they can produce a child or not, whether they can produce milk or not, a lot of them have given you, okay, you're a real woman. We'll back you. We'll give you all the support you want, all the support you need. And then after bending over backwards to give these trans women everything they can get, the trans woman goes, oh, you're a chest feeder. You're a birthing person. You're not a woman anymore. We're women. You're a birthing person. You're a chest feeder. You're not allowed to be a woman. You're a sub-woman, a sub-characteristic, a sub-part of womanhood. And it has nothing to do with you being a woman from birth. They get all kinds of mad. Then they say that the science suggests, and that we need to follow the science, that they're real women too. And that these pronouns save lives, because that's the science. And that with all of these surgeries, they are physically a woman now. Everyone's screaming that women are not just titties and pussy. But the first thing they want to do is run out and get titties and pussies. because that's what makes them a woman. So at the end of the day, when they say, follow the science, well, the actual science says that your DNA can be read and reads male. At the end of the day, those pronouns haven't saved lives. The suicide rate is still the same after transitioning. And if you can impose what you want your pronouns to be, how come all of us who take offense to cisgender and real birthing person and chest feeder and all of these things? I was called a fertilizer the other day because a guy said I stole his gas station pump. I pulled in a gas station into the pump, and this dude gets out with a dress with like arms as big as The Rock Johnson, bald head, eyelashes, and it's just like, you stole my gas pump. And I'm like, you weren't at it, you weren't parked anywhere near it, I didn't see your vehicle at all. So either I got here first or you were parked so far away not using it. So I am sorry you weren't using it, but if you let me go ahead and get my gas, this won't take as long as you think. I am not a fertilizer. I am a male. And these people that think that they're women, they're not. Unfortunately for you. Unfortunately. Because you want to be something. And I know what it's like to want to be something. I have wanted to be the Green Arrow. I have wanted to be a superhero. I have wanted to be a policeman. I have wanted to be a military soldier. I have wanted to be the best skateboarder I could be. I wanted to meet Tony Hawk. I wanted to go to Venice Beach in California. And now I will never step foot there. I had a lot of wants, and a lot of desires, and I never achieved any of those. And I'm going to go ahead and say this. I live with 2 bisexual women, and we're in a open poly relationship. In a way in which I get everything that I need and want, and they get provided for left and right, and everything is taken care of. So I really shouldn't bash people's desires, and I'm not going to. But you can't say, I'm a woman, I know I'm a woman, and this is why. Because you've never been a woman. So you don't know what it feels like. You don't know how it is. You don't know how to be a woman. And just shoving a pussy or cutting a pussy out of yourself doesn't make you a woman. Okay? And these women, these biological women, they grew up as women. They grew up with men in their life. Sometimes they grew up scared, being touched or looked at inappropriately. Their parents were fearing for their daughters' lives, them going missing or being sold into child sex slavery, more so than boys. Girls, they play with dolls like they're babies, and they do tea parties and pretend to wash dishes and pretend to cook and clean. They practice their entire childhood the basis of stereotypical womanhood. They do this because all of their toys and all of the clothes and everything that they get growing up is stereotypically female. They lived that life. And the idea that they get sat down at some point and someone tells them, look, this is how sex is for you. Somebody is going to shove themselves inside you. They're going to use you for their pleasure. They're going to dump their load inside of you, and you might get pregnant and you carry their child. And a lot of women, when they first hear these things, are scared or traumatized or nervous. You didn't get that. You didn't grow up with an uncle giving you dirty looks or touching you. There's a lot of women out there that truly have been treated horribly or had a rough upbringing. You weren't one of them. You were a boy. Now, we boys, yeah, our uncles touch us sometimes. I didn't have that situation. But I grew up with dump trucks and monster trucks and digging in the dirt. And, the other guys in the neighborhood, we tried to see how far we could pee. Literally a pissing contest. We would lob the dirt clogs that were left behind by tobacco after it had been cut at each other and yell out Dragon Ball Z attacks. We weren't worried about racism. We weren't worried about sexism. The black boys in the neighborhood, they were just as manly and just as good of boys as I was. We rode bikes together. We played together. We ate food together. We talked shit together. We played video games together. We palled around. Nobody was worried about who was more of a man than the other, who was more of a woman than the other. We weren't worried about who was representing us in TV shows. We didn't need representation. No one did. The black guys didn't. The white boys didn't. The Hispanic guys didn't. The trailer park that I grew up in, we never had those discussions. They weren't there. We watched WWE wrestling. We had a good time, and that was it. That was all there was to it. Okay? You didn't grow up like a girl where your mom's like, you got to keep your shirt down. You can't show those. Or, you got to be careful with that. Don't let water get in it. You might get an infection. Or, a 7 or 8 year old girl who just got her period a bit early, suddenly having to learn all of these health things that she's got to go through the rest of her life. You didn't learn any of these things. You didn't experience any of these things. And it's impolite, it's rude, it's aggressive and hateful to make the assumption that just because you say something, it's right. I'm not always right. I make a lot of claims that sometimes I have to go back and apologize for. But this is the science. This is the science. Yes, men and females both have a hormonal cycle, and they cycle. But you can't have an actual period. A period only exists because of the eggs inside of the vagina that have been released that die and rot, and the dead skin dies and rots. You would know these things had your mother sat you down and said, daughter, you're at that age now. What's going on with your body is this. It's not about the bloating. It's not about the cramping. It's not about the weight gain or the complaining that today you can't wear your skirt. Those are side effects of it. But women who are now in menopause don't get periods. They don't get these periods because they have reached the end of their potential reproductive cycle. They no longer have eggs. They're no longer shedding blood and dry tissue or wet tissue because it's still in there from their body. Their bodies are no longer withholding the water every month during this process. I assume right off the bat illogically because it takes water to make blood, and they have to, your body makes blood. So the first wrong assumption I have is that their bodies withhold water for the sake of keeping everything hydrated and making new blood. And it's a complex situation with a complex set of requirements, and none of which you as a trans male can meet. I don't mean to be that guy telling you how things work and making you sad. That's not my intentions. But there are people out there who feel traumatized because so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so, all of y'all have decided that for some reason it is perfectly okay to put down these real women, call them birthing person, call them chest feeder, call them whatever you want, but you can't be called anything that you don't appreciate, that you don't want. Okay? It may be true that I'm benefiting from the LGBTQ plus lifestyle of polygamy or polyamory or any of that, however you want to call it. However, if you want to be honest about it, open relationships and poly relationships have been around for the longest time. And it's more fair for the two women, because while I spend my money, they're able to put theirs back. Anytime they're unhappy in the relationship, they could leave and have thousands of dollars put back for their lifestyle. And as women, they can leave the house, find another man immediately, and continue with their life, or find another woman. You know? My lifestyle isn't really what gives me the ability to comment on this. My lifestyle gives me a unique view into how women think and feel, because I have two of them talking to each other, and I can hear what they're saying. I can hear how they say they're feeling. Then when they talk to me, they often dumb things down or express it differently. And the reason is because I don't know what it's like to be a woman. These women can't express these things to us, because if they're like, you know how when your body's, you know, they kind of get whatever that means. I don't. You don't. We don't. And even though the girls in my household feel, I guess the word is flattered, that everyone likes the female body now, it doesn't work the way everyone wants it to work, okay? You can't just become a woman and then tell women how to be, how to act, how to feel. That's not respecting women. That's putting them on as a cosplay. If we're going to respect the science and listen to the science and obey the science, then the truth is, the science is that you're a man, okay? If either the science is there or it isn't. Either we're going to listen to it or we're not. And when you tell us that the science is that it saves lives, it's not. So don't lie to us. Don't lie to yourself. Don't tell yourself, well, we're wrong. You can be trans. It may already be too late. But don't shove it down everyone's throats. Everyone's saying they didn't like it, that straight society was so prevalent. Well, that's what it was. It was prevalent. If anyone shoved straightness down your throat, it was your parents or maybe a church. And although I don't go to one, I'm not a member of one, I haven't been to one in a while, those places is not everywhere in America. Okay? You have a right to avoid places you don't want to go. You have a right to go places you do want to go, as long as you're welcome there. Like, I can't just walk into a club that's exclusive that you pay memberships to. If I don't pay for the membership, I can't go in. But if I want to go, I have the option to pay. I can qualify. I mean, look at it this way. You have the exclusive membership to being a man that a trans man will not ever actually genuinely truly be able to experience. No kind of penis that can be attached will ever be or work or feel as lifelike as the one you grew, I grew. Even if it's bigger, even if it folds up nice and compact, even if it doesn't come with any of the downsides, even if they can't be kicked in the testicles, those bonuses come from not being real men. And a lot of trans men know these things, and they're okay with it. They just keep it bottled up. You don't hear anything from the trans men community about how they're being so wronged. But they are. They're being wronged. Because now they're putting on the outfit of a man. They're trying to behave as a man. They want to be a man. And they're being treated like men. And with being treated like men, the same as you have been for your entire life, they don't like it. But they know, they understand that men, we carry on. We keep our head down and we do what needs to be done. they are doing better as men than you men who want to be trans women. And y'all turn into trans women and everything falls apart for you. Why? Because you're a man. Things are never going to be easy. People are never going to like us. People are never going to trust us. People cross the street when they see me walking down the sidewalk. It's been that way my entire life. And yes, I have black friends growing up, and they've said the same thing, and I'm sure they meant it worse than me. Okay, there is racism. It's not that much, but there is some. And a little old lady would see Pookie walking down the street, and, she would cross the street. Well, see, nowadays, with the Me Too movement and all of that, just being a man is enough to scare women. And if you're a man who wants to be a woman and fears other men, you cross the street too. All of y'all seem to be terrified of us. You're terrified of the truth. Men aren't as aggressive and evil as you think we are. Just because we have muscles doesn't mean we're going to use them. Just because one of us open carries a gun doesn't mean that the women in the crowd aren't carrying a gun in their pocketbook. Just because I have a phallus that could be inserted into somebody and make them carry a child does not mean you're going to be attacked. You're not that pretty. Get off your high horse. But this is the way women have felt for years now. And as a trans woman, you probably haven't felt those things. Because if you're so busy imposing your thoughts and feelings on people, you haven't really been afraid of them. You're not scared of consequences. You're not scared of what people think. So instead of imposing all this shit on people, just be you. Shut the fuck up, pick up your pocketbook, and go to your job and be you. And if you have a problem because other people don't like it, you should leave that job because you don't feel wanted. If I don't feel wanted at a job, I leave. I've walked out of a job that people just didn't seem to want me. And it was the slightest amount. And I would walk the hell out. If I'm not loving it, I'll walk the hell out. You can have a job. It's okay. It's a nice job. I don't really feel like I fit in. Leave. Go find the job where you love it and you feel like everyone needs you and you feel special. Okay? It's not about you being trans. That's a I'm not happy with my job thing. You got family that doesn't accept you, doesn't seem to want you, doesn't care, they're not being helpful. Don't be around them. That's not a trans thing. That's a family thing. Okay? Family uses each other back and forth. And it should typically be even. Anyone that's in your life is in your life because you make them smile, or you make them happy, or you keep them interested. If you're constantly giving them a hard time, they don't want to be there. They don't want to be there for you. They don't want to help you. They don't want to take interest in your stuff or your shit or spend their time doing your things when they got things they want to do. Unfortunately, that means they're not going to be around. The people that do want to be around are benefiting. They're enjoying your presence. Everyone mutually uses each other, at least at the level where they're enjoying your presence. And that's something we have to admit to ourselves to understand. If you're around family members that they don't make it shine and sparkle, leave. It's not about making people accept you. It has never been. It's about being where you're happy. And don't impose that shit on anyone else. But you're not going to feel like a woman. You're not going to know what feeling like a woman is. The women who grew up as a female, the women who were scared being kids, they know what being a woman is. They know that they're scared of men, or they don't like other women because they talk and run their mouths. They know how they feel and how they've experienced womanhood. And it's so much more than their sexual organs. but it is very much so their sexual organs. Not the shape of sexual organs, the existence of sexual organs. There are women that wanted to have children and found out they couldn't and have committed suicide because they can't give child to this world. They can't have their own child. They can't have their special bond because something is wrong with their body. Medically wrong. There's nothing medically wrong with a trans man's body. There's something medically wrong with their mind. It can't be medicated away, but therapy could help. And I think these people should get their therapy. There's nothing wrong with needing the help. Everyone's been pushing for, mental illness awareness for years now and being proud of it. And everyone has badges with all of their mental illnesses on it. There's places you can go where the waitresses and the purple hair girls and the guys who were gay and all, they have put, I have anxiety, I have multiple personality disorder, I have dissociative personality disorder, I have panic attacks, all of these things. I have an emotional support cat, yada, 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 yada. And they are totally okay with putting all these things out there as I need help set of flags. But they do not want to call the trans thing a mental illness because suddenly it's not real. It is real, but we need to acknowledge it the right way. And shouting at actual women is not the right way.